How's it going, everybody? I know a lot of my subscribers have been waiting for this video where I was going to put out my hit list for this hunting season. Unfortunately, I'm a little disappointed. I haven't got the caliber of bucks that I was hoping I'd get this year. I've had a few bucks just not show back up from last year that I know actually made it through hunting season. Now, I'm still hoping that they might possibly show up here. You know, as the year progresses, maybe they'll show up in November. I know they're still kind of splitting off their summer patterns right now. But I have, like, Flat Top was one of the bucks that was going to be a buck that I was going to really pursue hard this year. He's disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't seen nothing of him. And I'm running a lot of cameras. But, anyways, I've got at least 8 different bucks this year on our farm that I will pull the trigger on. You gotta remember, we're in Western New York. This is not the Midwest. This is not Kansas. This is not even West or Central Pennsylvania. This is Western New York. So the caliber of bucks here are going to be different than the caliber of bucks out west, which obviously anybody else from around here would know that. So the cutoff for me this year is 3.5 years old. I want to make sure that deer is 3.5 years old before I pull the trigger on it. So in other words, I'm not going to be shooting the 2.5, these bucks right here. The 2.5-year-olds, I'm going to let live all year, which I did last year. I let a lot of bucks, like this buck right here, a monster 4-point as a 2.5-year-old, which this year, as you'll see on this video, I call him the Big Six. He turned into just a big 6-point, and he's for sure a 3.5-year-old deer. One of the bucks on my hit list this year is Nomad, which here's his sheds from last year, and he's now a 3.5-year-old buck as well. So I will be targeting 8 different bucks, and I'm going to do my best to make sure I don't kill any 2.5-year-olds. We want to let those bucks live. And as you'll see on this video, I have tons of pictures of really, really nice looking 2.5-year-old 8-points. Some of them have really nice tines, big brow tines. Those bucks need to live, and I'm going to do my best to let them deer live. I'm going to fill you in on a couple things that will change this year. I'm going to be doing video vlogs every single hunt, whereas previous years I would just show you the hunts where I scored or would kill something. This year, every single hunt I'm going to show you from start to finish. So I hope everybody enjoys that. What else we got here? Oh, I'm going to have my neighbors, a lot of my close friends and buddies that hunt neighboring properties to our farm. They're going to have video cameras, and I'm going to throw whatever footage they're going to throw me. I'm going to put it on some of my vlogs and kind of show you their hunts as well through those video vlogs. So I'm going to have more cameras in the woods, and you got to understand too with I'm going to be hunting 8 different bucks, but these bucks aren't all in the same woods. You know, we have almost 700 acres on our farm, and they're different woodlots. I mean, totally different blocks some of these deer are in. So these aren't all in the same woods. So I'm trying to answer some of your questions before you guys even ask them on here. You know, I'm not going to go in the woods where there's 8 shooter bucks in the same woods. A lot of these bucks are in their separate spots. A couple of them are in the same woods, but for the most part, they're in separate spots. And go ahead and feel free to comment. If you see a buck on here that you're like, there's no way that's a 3.5-year-old deer, comment. And I'm sure I'll get tons of them, especially from these people, you guys that watch from the Midwest. These bucks are going to look like 1.5-year-old bucks to you guys. But nutritionally and everything else, we just don't grow the caliber of bucks you guys grow out there. So feel free to comment. You know, if you think I have a 3.5-year-old buck posted a 3.5-year-old buck, and you think it's a 4.5-year-old buck, which the bull, there's a buck on here called the bull, just a huge bodied, big bellied, curved back. He could possibly be 4.5 years old. So I want to hear your guys' opinion on these deer. And as the whole bow season progresses, I'm gonna take you on the hunts with me as I pursue maybe harvesting one of these deer. Here this very coming weekend, bow season opens on Sunday. I'm going to go out with the old recurve, and I'm going to try to nail a doe the first night, and I'll be bringing that action to you whether I'm successful or not. So, let's show you the deer. Okay, so this is the buck that I call the G2 buck. Obviously, for its big G2s, it's got really long G2s and nothing else really going on. Its brow tines kind of suck, and its G3s kind of suck. But I believe this buck to be 3.5 years old. I really don't remember which deer it was last year. I've got him on a bunch of different cameras in this woods that he's in. It does actually cross the road onto our neighbor's property and feed along their woods too sometimes, which I have some video of right about now. This is him feeding across the road from where he normally is. It's the deer on the left. That's just next to him looks like a 1.5-year-old old buck, or maybe a 2.5-year-old buck. But it's a pretty identifiable buck. He's got those big long G2s going for him. He also spends a lot of time with another buck that is going to be on my hit list this season, which will pop up here in a second. Okay, so there is the buck that I am going to call the Big Six. I have a lot of history with that buck. Really, last year as a 2.5-year-old, I passed him up a couple different times as just a huge 4-point, and I actually ended up finding his sheds, or one of his sheds. And there's a video on my YouTube channel about finding that shed, which is pretty interesting. This buck seems to be a big-time homebody. He hardly ever leaves the woodlot that he's in, and he seems to make an appearance about everywhere. I've got 4 cameras in that woods, and almost every time I check them, I have him on each camera. So he's out in the middle of the field, broad daylight, after he lost his velvet there. But if there's a buck that I will kill early season, I'm going to say it's that buck. He just seems to be everywhere all the time, and he is 100% a 3.5-year-old deer. And a deer that has pretty crappy genetics, obviously. He's 3.5 and he's a 6-point. That's not even a legal buck in Pennsylvania, which is pretty hard to believe, but that's the truth. I figured I'd throw that in for a transition. Okay, so this is a buck that I call a Ghost, and I really don't know how old this buck truly is. I don't have any other pictures of him. That's why I named him the Ghost. He's an 8-point, but he almost looks like he could be 2.5. I don't know if I'd give that buck 3.5, but I'll have to judge him on the hoof. Right now, I'm calling him 3.5, and I will shoot him if he comes through, unless I think otherwise. This is a buck that I call Skinny. Skinny is just a big 8-point. He's a 3.5-year-old deer by the looks of it to me, and he has hardly any mass. That's why I named him Skinny. Big bodied deer. He's pretty wide. I'd give him, 18 inches wide. Just has no mass, especially without velvet. He looks even worse. And Nomad is back. This is a buck that showed up last year on our farm, on our Nebraska food plot in December. And I eventually found his sheds sitting right in the food plot, which I have a video of on my YouTube channel here. And I called him Nomad because, well, he's nomadic. So I figured that'd be a good name for him. This year he's sporting 5 on the left side and 4 on the right side, which is kind of similar to last year. He was an 8-point last year, but his right side was really weak. And this year he's pretty much the same looking rack, only a little more mass and maybe a little bigger. So that's a buck I'm really looking forward to hunting. You can see in that one his right side is pretty weak. This is a deer that I knew from last year as well, and I'm naming him Funky. He is got the same exact rack as he had last year. Almost everything's the same. He actually runs with a little bit of a limp, so at some point in his life he got an injury, and that's what I believe caused his antlers to grow like that. And if anybody else knows anything more about that, you can comment below. But that's what I think's going on with him. And if he comes under me, I'll shoot him, just knowing that he I don't think is ever going to amount to anything. This is a buck that I really don't know much about. I named him Club. He's also got something kind of funky going on. I'm not sure if he's a 3.5-year-old deer. I almost kind of think he's 2.5. You guys comment below and see what you think. But he certainly isn't ever going to amount to too much, I don't think. And here's the buck that I call Bull. Bull is a tank of a deer. I mean, look at his body right there. He's just a big 8-point. Not too much mass going on, but he's tall and he's pretty wide, and that's why I named him the Bull. He's just a hog of a deer. Look at the belly on him. He's a big bodied deer, and he's not a homebody. He just showed up one night, and I never seen him again. And these are just a bunch of 2.5-year-old bucks that are really nice up-and-comers that have a couple years to grow or need a year or two to grow. So there's a couple just 1.5-year-old 8-points in here that I showed everybody. And that's pretty much all these bucks are here for a while. So I'll just let these play through. This year, I've got quite a few bear pictures. I get a bunch of them pretty much every year. This year has really been no different, especially next to the swamp. They seem to really be thick down in the swamp. I don't have any really giant bears like I've had in the past. I think a lot of these bears are kind of mediocre bears, and even some small bears. The one that I have here at the end is a pretty decent sized boar, I believe, but I'm not for sure. If you guys can tell if these are big bears or little bears, go ahead and comment. That's obviously a little cub right there. That seems like a pretty big bear, but I didn't get a very good picture of it.
they say with the rounded ears, that's what I think was my biggest bear this year. It just looks like a roly-poly-oly to me.
Well, I know a bunch of you guys were looking forward to that video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to getting in the woods and getting after some of those deer this fall. I've got a lot of questions about hats and t-shirts, and we're going to have those coming soon. We're in the process of getting a hold of those, and those will be available to everybody right through my YouTube channel very soon. I also have a P.O. box, which I'll put on the video right here. That's my P.O. box. If you guys want to send me anything, I'll try it out and give you a shout out right here on my YouTube channel. I've had a few guys ask me about my P.O. box, so there it is right there. I also have things set up on my YouTube channel through PayPal that you could donate. YouTube is, I'm sure a lot of people that watch big name YouTube channels, YouTube has taken my earnings from a lot of my videos because it's saying that a lot of my videos are considered like controversial because they're hunting. And YouTube as a whole is kind of attacking the hunting community that puts YouTube videos out there that it's not even the fact that it's graphic content, it's considered controversial. Hunting in general is considered controversial. So what they've done with that is they've limited the AdSense revenue that I could make as a YouTuber, and it's pretty much cut my earnings over pretty much in half. I have nearly 300 videos on YouTube, and I'm collecting earnings off of maybe 30 of them now. It's absolutely crazy, and it's really unfortunate. You know, I'm not really doing this to make money. I started off doing this to show my buddies my hunts and use YouTube as a platform to do that, and I realized after doing that for a while that a lot more people were enjoying my videos than just, you know, my close buddies and family and stuff, and that's when I started pursuing it. And it was nice because I was making a little income and I was making money to where I could keep just putting it back into my YouTube channel through new cameras, through drones, through anything to do with my channel. And now that I'm not making nearly what I was, it's going to be hard to make my content better and grow my channel through using better content. So I do have a way that people can donate money. You don't, obviously I'm not going to sit here and ask you for money, but any money I make on there will go straight into my YouTube channel through a new camera. I'm looking to get a 4K camera, and that's one of the ways I'm going to do it. I really appreciate everybody watching this. I do put a lot of work into this channel, even though sometimes it probably doesn't look like I do. I don't know. But, you know, I take pride in these videos, and I'm going to continue to make these videos. And it's crazy. I really never imagined it turning into what it's turned into. I have almost 13,000 subscribers and almost 15,000 people that tune into Tacoma Outdoors every day, which is like mind-blowing to think about. But it's all because of you guys that I do this. I'm going to continue to do it. So I cannot thank you enough for watching these videos and supporting me like you do. Until the next video, thanks for watching.